Good morning. Yes, it's still morning. We have 20 minutes left of the day. We're at the university library in this air-free environment. No windows anywhere. And we're very far from what I'm going to talk to you about today. Prana and the chakra system. It's a student of quantum physics and yoga called Schmieke. He's a German, and he written an article, Quantum Entangled Frequencies and Coherence in Bioenergetic System. I could borrow that and take a closer one. Let's see. I'll be okay. That's really good, yes. Okay. Thank you. In short, well, very shortly cut, you could see the system of different bodies that in Hindi or Sanskrit rather is called kosha. They are oddly similar to the quantum field that surrounds our bodies. And they correspond, each kosha 1 corresponds to chakra 1. So this is quantum mechanics entering into our anatomy, our biological system for the first time. And we have a guest here today, Oskari, and I'm afraid it's not going to be a simplified version. I need time to prepare, but I will promise I'll try to do one at some instance. This is going to be rather technical, but it's still very interesting. Until very recently, all of study on the body was strictly classical mechanical. The Newtonian concepts was the ruling thing. But now, little by little, we notice we are getting quantum mechanics into the field of the body. And oddly enough, there are many, many connections to things you can read about from India, China, Japan, Korea. East Asia seem to develop different understanding of these matters. This also looked like the Matrushka of Stephen M. Rosen and Diego Lucio Rapoport, I think. The Matrushka is the Russian doll, where the different layers are separated, but they are at the same time connected. This oddity of the Matrushka was something used very much by Lucio Diego Rapoport. I'll start with the article. It's going to be rather dense now. The abstract. Holistic health can be understood as the coherence of the human being as a whole, including his organism, mind, and relationship to his environment. Quantum entanglement of subsystems on all levels of human being is responsible for the wholeness of the living entity. The sum total of entanglements is defined here as an individual information field, which corresponds to the ancient Vedic concept of akasha. Entangled frequencies might be able to resonate with and influence human bioenergetic processes and systems with the aim of creating coherence of the bioenergetic system. both within the individual and between the individual and the surrounding fields. Here, a bioenergetic process is proposed that uses entangled frequencies to increase the coherence of living systems, selected through biofeedback of a quantum noise generator, a Q and G, which seems to be correlated to the ancient Vedic concept of Prana. It has been tested in a controlled observation study for its effect on the sense of coherence of 3,545 participants. The promising results of this study are additionally presented here. Now to the first paragraph. The bioenergetic quantum nature of biological systems. And it's about quantum influences on bioenergetic and bioelectric systems. The term bioenergetic in this regard refers to the influence of quantum processes on the bioelectric and electromagnetic systems, processes, and fields of the body, beginning with photons initiating biochemical process in the body and progressing to the electric fields of cells and organs, heart, brain, at all level of complexity. The physical and biochemical systems of the body are accompanied or even controlled by electromagnetic fields and electrical currents. You can see here. These electromagnetic and electrical processes are characterized on many levels by holistic quantum phenomena. The quantum interactions of these bioelectric and bioelectromagnetic structures and processes unite to form the bioenergetic field of a human being. It includes not only the body and consciousness and can be related to ancient concepts like chi, prana, ki, that are foundational to traditional Chinese medicine. And the yoga traditions of India. For thousands of years, terms like chi and prana, referring to the bioenergetic field of the body, and the term life energy, were exclusively the territory of Eastern philosophers and metaphysicians. For the purpose of this discussion, we refer to the quantum processes of body, mind, and the deeper psyche as the person's individual information field, IF for short. It consists of quantum information contained in the sum of generalized quantum entanglements, both in the human being and between the human being and the environment. The subset of an individual's information field is recognized by the NIH, National Institutes of Health, as the bioenergetic field. In the ancient Vedic text, it corresponds to the concept of akasha as the central element of the Samkhya philosophy, connecting the realms of the gross and the subtle matter. The bioenergetic field communicates to the biological body via dynamic quantum processes. A general concept of an information field has been developed by scientists of various disciplines. Aharonov, Bohm, Baumeister, Sheldrake, Laszlo, Wallach. A similar concept regarding cellular biology with clear definitions of global and individual information fields is presented by William B. Miller. It has been previously advanced that all living entities assess information beyond their immediate environment and exist as part of a system of pervasive information fields. These fields of information are best modeled after the concept introduced by Lloyd as self-organizing, universal, and scale-free informational sets that can be appropriately applied to biological organisms. Within this frame, each living organism has its own unique information field within space-time as an attachment to outward information space. This is composed by its physical environment and by the overlap of all the individualized information fields of each of the varied constituents with which it can communicate, both near and far. The addition of wholeness to fully local and analytic models. Holistic quantum models of an organism represent an evolutionary step to understanding being, and only recently it has become understood by the analytic terminology of current biology. Biology and medicine tend to consider the human being as consisting of many systems, such as mind, body, organs, functional systems, cells, cell organelles, biomolecules, etc. This analysis tends to overlook the wholeness of the human being. And in parentheses, I can say this is 100% the classical physical model. We are fragmented in view of anatomy, medicine, psychology, physiology. Treating the body as analytically fragmented into hierarchical systems. Lee Smolin, the author of The Singular Universe and the Reality of Time, state that biology and medicine are still using concepts of Aristotelian physics, outdated for centuries since Isaac Newton, it's worse, whose ideas have been extended by Einstein's demonstration of the common nature of energy and mass as two forms of the same essence. the discipline of biophysics. Started a few decades ago to apply these modern concepts of physics, especially quantum theory, to biology. We find Schrödinger 44, Davidoff 82, Fleming, Scholes, Young, Chung, Cheng. As a result, terms like bioenergetic fields have achieved a new scientific meaning, re-establishing and evolving awareness of the wholeness and interactions of the apparently separated objects of the body. A new proposal in this paper is to define the bioenergetic field of a living entity as the body-related component of its individual information field. The individual information field is proposed to be defined as a complete information contained in the holistic sum of its generalized quantum entanglements. The bioenergetic field communicates to the electrical and electromagnetic levels of the body by related quantum processes. Therefore, the electromagnetic level is the focus of information, field-controlled frequency applications. This electromagnetic level functions as the link integrating the bioenergetic of the body with the essence of the information field. Although biology and medicine apply advanced models of physics, each still uses Aristotelian logic, which is linear and dualistic. These are the most valuable in clinical and emergency interventions, such as repairing a broken leg. Unfortunately, these two valid dualistic approach sacrifices a sense of the wholeness of nature, which is essential for the optimum health. More complex logical systems and concepts of nature need to be applied to get a deeper understanding of life, meaning, and consciousness, which are crucial for both individual and community health and well-being. Quantum effects on bioelectric fields and wholeness. A quantum object is characterized by the quality of wholeness and inseparability, which means that it can't be divided into parts without losing the important phase relationship information between the resulting parts. In the fragmented system, the lost quantum information reappears by non-local and acausal effects on quantum entanglement. This appears in classical quantum theory applied to the microscopic level of the body, but also in the macroscopic biophysical structures of the body, especially in the nervous system and the immune system. And this we have from Stuart Hameroff and Roger Penrose. They are two very great proponents on bioenergetics. The separation of body, mind and soul, which is generally a basis of scientific analytic approaches, results in the appearance of unexpected, non-local and acausal phenomena in the remaining physiological system. It also results in the duality of the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, appearing between the Unitarian development of the wave function between measurement and its spontaneous reduction, strangely suggesting a non-physical observer and contradicting the Schrödinger equation itself. This is from Smolin. The loss of wholeness is the price paid by the purely quantitative description of a two-valued logic system. Generalized quantum theory and quantum entanglement in macroscopic systems, as predicted by the generalized quantum theory of Atmanspacher, Römer and Walasch, wholeness reappears in phenomena of macroscopic quantum entanglements. This also is evident on many levels of biophysical structures, where coherence appears as an indication of the hidden wholeness of the organism. Bioenergetic properties and systems are a compensation for the quantum wholeness sacrificed by modern scientific models. But combining the quantum concepts of coherence, entanglement, and non-local interactions with traditional terminology of bioenergetic systems, such as the meridians and the chakras, is leading to convergence. Large amounts of research have been done on the scientific meaning and correlation of those terms. But the exploration has only begun. Due to newly available tools of research and observation, we have begun to mine a deeper understanding of health and well-being through holistic quantum effects and information. Definition of bioenergy in terms of coherence. On the basis of these assumptions of the bioenergetic state of an organism, is proposed in this paper to be proportional to 1. The degree of coherence of its bioelectrical field, and 2. The quantity of its coherent energy. So it's the relation between the centering single attractor or strange attractor, if you like, and the field. It's in this relationship you find the reason for what in this article is called Prana, Chi, or Bioenergetic. Coherent energy is the potential to achieve the purpose of a specific expression of life, especially its meaning within its environment. Parallel to this definition, the bioenergy of a living organism is proportional to the sum total of its positive possibilities, which is expressed in a coherent and focused information contained in the system. Coherence, according to Marco Bischoff, appears in many measurable expressions of life in the organism and also on a mental psychological level. The highest degree of coherence is achieved if body, mind, and soul are in one coherent state, which is traditionally referred to as the state of enlightenment. Modern science has researched enlightenment states using EEG, electroencephalography, neuroimaging, and 2. Heart-brain coherence measurements, coherent correlations of HRV, heart rate variability. Bioenergy as a flow of information. The bioenergetic field is the information field of a human being, connecting to the human being as a whole and to the human body. This is especially true of the holistic, coherent, and quantum aspects of the body's electromagnetic and electrical fields. The traditional life energy concepts of prana and chi are not related to physical energy. So just the traditional life energy concepts of prana and chi are not related to physical energy, but rather to dynamic flows of information. We know that in quantum mechanics, information is more basic, more foundational than the concept of energy, mass. Weizsäcker, as the assistant of Werner Heisenberg, was one of the best thinkers regarding quantum philosophy. He compared the terms life energy, prana, or bioenergy to the probability amplitude of the wave function, believing it to be a quantified expression of where time leads evolution. Therefore, it is quantum information on the least concrete level of physical expression. As the information field of the human system, this quantum information connects body, mind, and soul to restore the wholeness of the human being. It restores what is lost by internal, psychological, or external environmental influences. Since the information field is the sum total of generalized quantum entanglements connecting a human being to the environment, it recognizes the integration of parts on the level of quantum information. The information field is the global frame in which all local systems of a more concrete or physical nature are embedded. Effects on frequency applications by generalized quantum entanglement. According to the generalized quantum theory of weak quantum theory of Atman, Spacher, Römer and Wallach, global systems are quantum entangled with their parts, and the parts are quantum entangled with each other if the global and local systems possesses complementary properties which are non-commutable. In the same way, quantum mechanics posits that the location of a particle and its momentum are non-commutable observables. This means that the sequence in which they are measured in a particular system is important. This is an absolute minimum set of requirements for a system in order to develop properties like generalized quantum entanglement. Here our bioenergetic process is proposed from the perspective of weak quantum theory, which applies electromagnetic frequencies, for example by microcurrent, to the human body with low amplitudes, which are selected by an open quantum process used as a random event generator, a reg. The reg is expected to show effects of quantum entanglements with the meaning of the frequencies, content of the information field, the bioenergetic field, and the bioelectrical resonances of the frequencies. This influences the physical processes in the bioelectrical field, in addition to the direct effect of frequencies of bioelectrical level. The purpose is always to create coherence, thus promoting general well-being and holistic health. This is achieved through bioenergetic frequencies of low amplitude, so-called microcurrent, and global application, mostly through wrist electrodes to cover all the meridians to influence the information field of the body and develop toward greater coherence toward the intended focus. As a consequence, bioenergetic frequencies can benefit the coherence of bioelectrical field of the human being through generalized quantum entanglement. Additionally, the frequency modulated microcurrent can manifest its direct effects on the bioelectrical level of the body and the cells. In the third chapter of this paper, a controlled trial is documented using frequencies to promote coherence. Model of interaction between the material body and information field. Body, information field. This diagram illustrates the effects of frequencies, putting them into a meaningful context of physics, biology, and informational field theory. In its symmetrical structure, matter and information space are mirror images of each other. They are connected by the mirror axis of the quantum process, through which the exchange between matter and the information field takes place. Quantum processes are non-deterministic physical random processes. As an alternative to the combination of deterministic natural laws and random processes, they permit information flow from the information field towards the matter. Using acausal and non-local effects, quantum processes can connect remote spatial areas. The matter is represented by the molecular body and electromagnetic fields. The electromagnetic body consists of the electrical field, level of the cell and tissue, and the electromagnetic interactions, fields, and radiation. These extend to the ultra-weak cell radiation, the so-called biophotons. If a reduction of the wave function takes place on the quantum level of these electromagnetic processes, all quantum entanglements associated with it, even in a generalized form, are related to the respective process flow into it. Therefore, the diagram indicates the level of quantum processes and the area of locally, not locally effective quantum entanglements in which the hidden relationships of the fragmented material reality are contained. Well, very important. The material reality is a classical approximation attained by neglecting quantum physical phase relationships and aspects of wholeness. Thus, individual objects come to the fore of consciousness. The lost wholeness and relationships reappear as quantum entanglements. The sum total of information contained in a person's quantum entanglements, both internal and external, is what in this field paper is defined as his or her individual information field. That component related to the body is the person's bioenergetic field. It connects the body with the mind and the soul, and therefore may be regarded as the very essence of life. Mind and soul in this context refer to the conscious mind and the unconscious soul aspects of the human psyche, together forming the wholeness of internal experiences and reality. In this way, the information field is not an additional ontological field, but the necessary complement to the classical approach to objects existing separately from each other. It is not a speculative Sorry for my husky voice. It is not a speculative addition to reality, but the very necessary complement to the classical approximation of reality through hidden quantum entanglements. However, such a classical approximation has to be assumed in each model, because in quantum physics, a part of reality has to be described classically in order to obtain measurable results. This is very important. Actually, the majority part of quantum mechanics is done in a classical fashion. The reason for that is that we want to have measurable results. And that oddity you should look out for, because it is often used by scientists, even like Hawking, to nullify the effects of quantum mechanics. But it is an absolute necessity to measure everything classically when it comes to electromagnetic current, mass, energy, and so forth. That does not mean that quantum mechanics is not the foundation. Two different things. And actually, in media, on the YouTube, when I look, I never see anyone make the very important distinction. Intermingled, it looks, and this is how it looks to many scientists as well, that classical physics still rules. The information field, consisting of the sum of the hidden, generalized, and strong quantum entanglements, can be divided into three areas. The global information field refers to the entire universe and the relationships of its individual subsystems and living beings to each other. 2. The individual information field contains the information of all quantum entanglements related to an individual living being. With the individual information field, there are three areas relating to the trinity of the body. A, body, B, mind, and C, soul. 3. The bioenergetics field is the area of the information field related to the body and connects body, mind, and soul. The information field controlled frequency applications of the proposed bioelectrical process emanate in both directions from the middle, going out in both directions. The process is shown in the middle because the physical noise generator, the rake or quantum sensor, in the center of such a process determines the current application frequency on the basis of physical quantum processes. The low microcurrent frequencies, up to approximately 130 Hz, act at the level of cell electricity and are intended to increase the cell membrane potential and thus the cell energy. Higher frequencies mainly harmonize the bioenergetic field in a sequence selected by the information field, supporting the wholeness of body, mind, and soul. Coherence. There's also an illustration which is really hard to draw. I would try to do that and see how it connects to the chakra system. I will do that in the break that comes soon here, and now we're going to use your your lekamen. Can you say that in English?
Lekamen, what is lekamen? My body.
Lekamen, maybe.
Mm.
Higher frequencies mainly harmonize the bioenergetic field in a sequence selected by the information field, supporting the wholeness of body, mind, and soul. Coherence, very important phrase. Repeat that, coherence. According to William Miller in a big research 2016, the coherence of the information field of the cell is closely related to the integrity and properties of the cell membrane. An example is the cell membrane potential, the CMP. Quote, the cellular boundary delimits the informational field, shielding it from some distortions or deformations caused by external environmental variables and adjacent cellular field effects. The cell membrane creates the environment in which the integrity of the information field can be protected and coherently projected. Again, this component of the information field is called the bioenergetic field of the cell. Frequencies can thus be described as a language by which the global and individual information fields communicate with the electromagnetic and bioenergetic field of the body. Miller supposed this concept theoretically by relating energy transfer and information to frequency and amplitude. Quote, however, as energy transfer is an oscillating function of frequency and amplitude, there must be zones of coherence or decoherence that occur across gradients within any boundary condition. Further, Miller identifies energy transfer with information and the boundary of the cell. The dynamic mutual transfer of energy and information as an essential life process is subject to frequencies, harmonics, and resonances. These are true sounds. And in the Vedic tradition, everything starts with a sound. The frequency is in quantum mechanics as well as in some traditions seen as being founded by sound itself. These frequencies generated by quantum processes within the bioenergetic process connect the global information field, think of the whole world, to the bioenergetic field of the cell, small things, and the body, to unite body, mind, and soul by generalized quantum entanglement. In this process, each cell is a cognitive unit with its own information field, communicating through electromagnetic frequencies with its environment, other cells, and the underlying information field. In this model, frequencies take on a similar function to that of bioenergetic processes, which is traditional cultures usually phrase life energy, chi, prana, ki. They convey the influence of the free information fields to the body and make that influence perceptible. Coherent frequency patterns as an informational basis of life. The fundamental effect on frequencies as an informational basis of life has been suggested by a series of research papers by Gesink and Meyer. Through the analysis of more than 500 studies, 500, on the effects of frequencies of living systems, the authors found a very important, remember this, scale invariant, again, fractal, scale invariant pattern of frequencies in the range for 0.1 Hertz to beyond 500 terahertz. That affects living systems in a positive way by promoting their degree of coherence. The same pattern of coherence promoting frequencies is found in the infrared spectrum of pure water and of clay, which according to the authors may serve as replicators of an underlying frequency pattern of the quantum vacuum. In a paper, Water, the Cradle of Life, Gesink, German, Meyer draw a systematic conclusions about the coherent frequencies in water as the basis for cellular life processes. In this section, the authors draw the conclusion that coherent frequencies promote quantum entanglement on the intra and extracellular levels, and in this way support the development of larger coherent domains. By their positive influence on the degree of entanglement on the cellular level, coherent frequencies can also be instrumental to harmonize the information field of the cell, which is defined by the sum total of the quantum entanglements of the cells internally and externally. The degree of the cell's internal and external quantum entanglement is a good indicator for their ability to communicate with other cells, and the degree of internal communication of its part and components like the DNA, mitochondria, and cell organelles. As Gesink and Meyer's research and conclusions are based on more than 500 studies of the biological and medical effects of frequencies, they are a strong basis for further research on the effect of the frequencies of cells on cells, organisms, and the underlying information field. Meyer and Gesink understand the coherent frequency pattern to be resonance frequencies from the underlying quantum vacuum, which they consider to be closely related to the information field in a Bohmian sense. Coherent frequencies, therefore, may serve to strengthen the resonance of coherent domains of living organisms to the underlying information field / quantum vacuum. Meyer and Gesing's research supports the assumption that the octave principle of harmonics may be applied to coherent frequencies. This means that a coherent frequency is obtained by multiplying a coherent frequency with a multiple of 2. The idea of an information field that interacts through quantum processes with the matter has been substantiated by the models and research of interdisciplinary scientists such as Einstein's protégé David Bohm, the Bohm-Aharonov effect, works on Professor William Tiller of Stanford, experiments by Roger Nelson, evolution biologist William B., Russian cosmologist Nikolai Kozyrev, German physicist and Heisenberg student Burkhard Hein. Guidance from the information field to support biological processes. The information field is considered to be a guide to understanding the evolution of life on this planet. Also, Robert Becker addresses the concept of morphogenetic, shaping fields from which the blueprint of growth is derived. These electrical fields, according to Becker, contains all information about the development of life. The development consists of non-local information accumulating as the memory of nature to develop higher order and more complex systems. According to this model, each local change, development and evolution is stored dynamically in the information field in order to non-locally guide random processes and to increase the complexity and coherence of life. The existence of such fields does not conflict with quantum theory and even suggests that random quantum processes can connect the communication between any dynamic system and the global non-local information field. In this model, the collapse of the wave function is not a purely random effect, contradicting the designers of quantum physics such as Einstein and de Broglie. Rather, it bridges the gap between the Unitarian development of the wave function and the seemingly meaningless collapse of the wave function. In the model of the information field, the random quantum processes like physical noise generated express the effects of the information field and of intention and consciousness. The physical noise generator used in the proposed bioenergetic processes is based on an open quantum processes in the p-n junction of a transistor or a diode. Even thermal components of p-n junctions noise are ultimately caused by quantum events. The noise is the signal. This is what puts the body together with the soul, mind, and the cells. But it's also what put the whole universe together. And it's elegant because why would the body or the human soul use another system than the quantum system? It's the most effective, it's the most stable, and now when we're getting into what is in the bottom, it becomes very, very pertinent to what we do with our bodies, how we treat them. Quantum physics, consciousness, and information. Quantum mechanics includes both the knowledge of the observer and the observer's knowledge acquiring action. Thus, an observer's intentions can influence physical behavior. Intentions could be your attitude, your mood, your Stimmung. Following the ideas of Werner Heisenberg, Johann von Neumann, Alfred North Whitehead, and Eugene Wigner and others, Stapp developed the theory of human consciousness as a process. Von Neumann and Wigner argue that the collapse of the wave function in any measurement process depends on the actions of a conscious observer. Stapp's premise is similar to those of Roger Penrose, the Australian philosopher David Hodgson, and the British philosopher Michael Lockwood. Penrose and Hodgson consider non-local quantum effects over areas of the brain to be much larger than the microscopic of single atomic processes. All these researchers explore